Okay. Good evening, bonsoir, Ani, and welcome to our regular meeting of council. I'd like to begin the meeting by acknowledging that we are in the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe peoples in the territory of the, in the Robinson-Huron Treaty Area, and wish to recognize the neighboring community of Dokis First Nation. While we meet today, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. And with that, we are going to go into the agenda. There's an addition to the agenda under 6.1.1. So prior to the resolution to receive the Integrity Commissioner report, I'd like to add flood monitoring and watershed condition update. So that one will go first, okay? So then I need a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda. Thank you. Amended agenda. Thank you. Renee and Dave, all those in favor? Thank you. Any disclosures of pecuniary interests? Seeing none. Well, tonight we do have a delegation, and it's Joan Mercer Fryer who will speak to us about climate change. And just a reminder again, Joan, you have a maximum of 15 minutes. I know, good luck.
All right, I'll have to talk very, very fast.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank council.
Yeah, you're okay.
So go ahead, change the slide. I just want to thank you all for the work that you do, because sometimes I don't think you get enough thanks. Okay, I am Joan Mercer Fryer. I know some of you better than others. I'm a longtime resident of French River. I raised 3 children here, and I worked for over 20 years at both French River Secondary School as well as Minettville Public School, and I'm retired. Okay, and sorry, could you just go back to the other one? Yeah. Oh, yes, I want to talk about, I hope you all know that we're doing the Green Expo and Community Yard Sale Earth Day on Saturday, this Saturday from 9 to 2, and there's going to be food. There's going to be, yeah. Anyway, it's going to be food. There's going to be rescue animals for the kids. There's a coloring contest. Of course, green initiative people there. And I just want to do a call out or a thank you to Home Hardware, because I saw that on Facebook, they did their own, announcement about that they're going to be at Earth Day and come to see them. So I thought that was just wonderful. Okay, so yeah, so why am I interested in climate change? Because I am concerned about affordability. Now that might be that's probably not what you were expecting to hear, because most people think that climate, that green tech is going to, we can't possibly afford to change anything. But I'm here to convince you otherwise. And I chose these pictures from last week's Artemis 2 around the moon, just to show how fragile we are. I mean, as I do research on, about the Earth, I'm just blown away by really, we're so lucky to be here, and we live in a fragile, anything can happen at any time. I'm going to get off topic, I know that, but I know yesterday they were talking about the Ottawa area. Did you know the Ottawa area is quite sensitive to seismic shocks? In fact, they had an earthquake. I was really surprised to hear that. So we have lots of things to deal with, and filling up our atmosphere with 100 million tons of CO2 per day is not helping. Go ahead. Yeah, and this slide scares me. This is the one that scares me the most, because as you can see, in the last 800,000 years, the amount of carbon in the air has not really exceeded, just over 250 parts per million. And as you can see, look at where it is now. I mean, it's frightening. It's at 400 and almost 450 parts per million. And that means, of course, the more CO2 you have in the air, the more the hotter Earth gets. And that's not new. Of course, that has happened many, many times in the 4.5 billion years that planet Earth has been here. And when there is CO2 in the air due to usually natural causes, volcanic activity, for example, lots of volcanic activity, you're going to get a warm planet. And when you don't have, for some reason, whether it's particles in the air because a meteor hit, right? You're going to get an ice age, as well as, these are all ice ages, right? The dips here, ice ages, and that happens naturally about every 100,000 years because of the nature of our solar, the way that the Earth goes around the sun. It's not perfectly circular, and sometimes just the tilt, the wobble, the solar, it causes the less solar radiation to the Earth, and you end up in an ice age. Go ahead. Okay, go ahead. Yes, so I just wanted to say too that I am on the Environmental Advisory Committee. I just want to give a shout out to the people that were on the committee. I've really been, it's really been wonderful to work on the committee because everybody has great ideas and they share the responsibility. So I just want to say that my presentation here tonight is not on behalf of the committee. All mistakes are my own. Please feel free to interrupt me at any time and, do your own research. I mean, don't take my word for anything, right? I go through my days Googling everything all the time, right? Questions come into my head. Anyway, I'm here tonight on behalf of the majority of Canadians that still care about climate change, in spite of the fact that we don't see it on the news. Just a note about that. I mean, we're seeing crazy stuff on the news every single day, and our news feeds are taken up with that stuff. And I mean, I get a lot of stuff about climate change, of course, because that's the algorithm that, social media has decided that I should see. But it's still happening, even though we're not hearing about it. And what climate change activists are saying is we need to talk about it. We should not avoid this subject because we think it's political. For heaven's sakes, this is something that affects, it is affecting us, and it's going to affect us even more in the coming decades. I just want to say, just again about carbon. Carbon, I don't know if people really realize this, but it doesn't go away. About 50% of the carbon that we are emitting from the burning of fossil fuels is reabsorbed in a few decades. 30% of it stays around for hundreds of years, and between 15 and 20% of it stays for thousands of years. Thousands. So what we're putting into the air every day and what is already there is not going to go away. So we are stuck with climate change. We're just trying to mitigate it. We don't want it to get worse. And a 4-degree, they talk about 1.5. We're actually already at 1.5, not as an average, but we have hit that point already. And, if we go to 4% by the end of the century, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it will be catastrophic. Okay, so this is done by Angus Reid Forum, and it's 2025, asking people about flooding and severe rains. And of course, you can see the coastal provinces know about severe rains and storms that are becoming worse. I wouldn't be buying a house. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but shouldn't be buying a house off the coast of Newfoundland right now, on a little island or something, because it's not good. So obviously, even in Alberta, you can see 51% of people are concerned about climate change. Go ahead, Melanie. Yeah, so as I said, they're concerned, but they think they can't do it because it's too expensive. And in my opinion, we cannot afford not to care about climate change and we need to start using green technology. We can't expect the government's not going to come and take our hand and hand it to us. They have in some cases, providing incentives, providing grants is, of course, very important to help people make that switch. It's like, when you go to the store, if you've got $3, maybe you can buy 3 cans of beans, no, sorry. What I'm trying to say is that if you have money, you can buy in bulk and it's cheaper, right? If you don't have money, you can't make those savings. And I see green technology the same way. There has to be some capital input in order for you to save money. And that's what I want to talk about. So I'm going to look at the costs of climate change. I'm going to talk about the politics of oil and clean energy. And then I would like to look a little bit about how we as a municipality might go forward. So again, extreme weather is on the rise. This is globally. Go ahead. And this is insured losses. This is from the Insurance Bureau of Canada. And we all know that there's no part of the sector or no sector of the economy that is more interested in climate change than the insurance industry. These are payouts that they have made in 2024. And I'm not going to go through them all. I don't really have time, but just one thing that they say, Toronto and GTA flooding was 990 million. And when there are floods in the big cities, it is super expensive. And we are all paying for that. I mean, my house insurance has certainly gone up. I'm sure yours has too. Go ahead. And yeah, this is just some things about, things that are going to happen as climate change accelerates. Everything from, let me take that right up so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, everything from, oceans rising, of course, hot weather. I mean, I can't imagine some people having to work outside right now. I'm finding these summers, and I'm 73 years old, so I've been around for a while. Certainly when I was a girl, we never had air conditioning. Never even thought about it. And now I wouldn't be without it. And there are many times in the summer where I just can't go outside. And I feel it's awful for people that have to work outside. Eh? Okay, so yeah, sorry, just go back for a second. So even invasive plants, invasive insects, those are going to have economic consequences on our forest. I mean, here we live in a supposedly temperate zone. That's why we have, the forest ecology we do. But this is going to change. It's not going to happen tomorrow. And I just want to say one thing too, is that, do we think that 250 years is a long time? I think we do. It's a long time. But to think that we have done this since the Industrial Revolution began, and it's really accelerated, in the last 10 years, say, I'm losing my thought here a little bit, but that's not a long time. And that's how quickly CO2 has risen. And the CO2 is not the only greenhouse gas. There are others, but it's the one that stays the longest in the atmosphere. So, we have changes in animal and plant distribution. We have air pollution. We have, ecological changes, extreme weather events, permafrost. Permafrost is, of course, is thawing in the north. That's going to cause all kinds of problems for roads, infrastructure, as well as the permafrost thaws, it's releasing huge amounts of CO2 into our atmosphere again. And health effects. I'm not going to go through these all again, but ticks. Now we're worried about ticks, heat-related illnesses, all of the health effects, relocation, stress from coastal erosion, displacement. How many people are still, we see a news event on the TV about, people being displaced, and it's, the next week we don't hear about it anymore, but those people are living with it for years. Okay, nevertheless, as I mentioned, we are burning huge amounts of fossil fuels, oil, gas, and coal. And we have another problem, and that is that we are increasing our use of electricity. AI data centers are huge energy users, and we're electrifying everything. I mean, we can sit on our couch and, do everything. It's kind of crazy in a way, but that's the way we're doing it, right? There are two views. Now, and I want to say that I think even oil and gas companies would not tell you that they don't believe that the climate is changing, that it's not due to the burning of fossil fuels. However, the OPEC oil and gas people, they want to tell you that, fossil fuels are going to be needed for decades to come. But I want to, and of course, that's what they have. Oh, sorry, just go back, Melanie. Yeah, but I'm contrasting the OPEC plus view with the International Energy Agency view, which does not say that. They're saying net zero, which means we're not adding CO2 to the atmosphere, is cheaper than fossil fuel dependence. And I'm going to get into that. They believe that peak fossil fuel demand will peak before 2030. So that's not long from now. And I'll give you some examples of why I think that's true too. They say beware of natural gas lock-in. In other words, natural gas, or fossil gas, as some people call it, is being touted by many countries that have natural gas, especially, that it has lower CO2 emissions. That's true. That is true. So perhaps we need to use it as a transition fuel, but not to come to depend on it totally. Because not only does it still emit CO2, it also has the risk of methane, which is even 80 times more potent than CO2, but it only lasts, I think, about 20 years or something. So, International Energy Agency is saying, beware of natural gas lock-in. They're saying the renewables revolution will not be stopped, and climate action and energy access go together. So what are we going to choose? Go ahead, Melanie. We know that Donald Trump, for sure, takes the OPEC plus view, even though he's not a member of, even though the US and Canada are not members of OPEC. We know that he believes, I believe, that he believes that fossil fuels are here to stay and that they are a source of power and money and influence, which they are. Go ahead. So these are the countries that have proven oil reserves. As you can see, the countries are Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, and then the next rich in oil reserves, Canada, and Iraq and Iran. And of course, there's Russia next, and the US does have oil reserves, of course. Brazil, China even has oil reserves. Libya. Go ahead. So those are obviously the countries that do want, really want fossil fuels to continue. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm not gonna make it. Okay. So I just want to go through, I'm talking here about, and if you have these notes anyway, I guess you can look at it. I wanted to talk about what's our path going to be? Are we going to continue on the oil and gas line, or are we going to, go for clean energy? And I guess I just want to talk about where our oil goes. Our oil, and I read this in that Canadian imports, our oil enables the US to export a huge amount of their gas. They use our gas for domestic use. And yeah, go ahead to the next one, I guess. And maybe even the next one. Yeah, even the next one. Okay, so this is where it goes from the oil sands. And the oil sands are like a huge percentage of our oil and gas, right? There's a little bit on the west coast or on the east coast there, but 5%, I think. The rest of it is all in Alberta here. And these are the pipelines. This is the Trans-Canada. This is the gas pipeline that you see even in Sudbury around Frood Road there. That's that one, okay? But you can see that all of the oil goes south. This line 5 here actually goes through Canada, then into the States. And this is what line 5, when they talk about line 5, they're talking about it goes under the Straits of Mackinac. The governor of Michigan was not happy about that. But, anyway, and then it doesn't come into Canada until it gets to Sarnia. So I guess I'm, thinking of in terms of energy independence and security, the Americans could shut that off anytime they wanted to. And I'm not saying they would, but, we don't have anything else. And what I wanted to say too is that, okay, 60% of the oil and gas companies, and I'm not sure if it's oil and gas companies or investment, but 60% is American owned. And another 10% is foreign owned. Only 30% is Canadian owned. You have to realize this is not national. We do not nationalize our gas and oil. It belongs to private companies that have private investors. I looked at Cenovus, which is supposedly a Canadian company. The biggest investor in Cenovus is a Chinese entity. So I think basically it's owned by multinational companies. That's the way it is. And so when people talk about, we need to use our own oil and, we need to get a pipeline across and a pipeline over to, I don't see that happening. I mean, I could be proved wrong, but they love this. They are really doing very well. They buy it at a cheaper price, right? They buy it at a discount and then they refine it and sell it back to us. And I'm not trying to, that's just the way it is, right? I'm not trying to go down on the Americans or anything, but you have to realize that that's it. Go ahead. Okay, so again, these are the refineries in the States that refine our oil. And some of our oil goes right down to the Gulf, gets refined and put on huge tanker ships and sold at world price. Go ahead. So I guess what I was really interested to see too was the amount, like since 2000, how the amount of production in the oil sands has really ramped up. The investors in the oil sands are not interested in exploration. They're not interested in new investment. They are doing really well. They've laid off people. They've managed to reduce their workforce through automation, and they're doing really fine, really fine. So if you have stocks in oil and gas, kudos to you. Go ahead. Okay, again, profit. We do get royalties. Alberta and Canada do get royalties, but pretty small compared to the amount of profit. Go ahead. And again, I just had this on here because I wanted to show mining, quarrying, and oil and gas extraction. So all of the mining, quarry, it's about 6% of our GDP. So it's not a, like sometimes we tend to think that it's, it's a lot, but it's kind of not. Go ahead. So what else does the US have to lose with the decline of fossil fuels? So they have that to lose. I think that they're going to double the production in the oil sands, and they're going to maybe build a Keystone XL and use even more of our gas and oil. And there's really nothing we can do about it. But I just wanted to, I hope I can have enough time to just go on to this. Oh my gosh. Okay, then I'm going to go on to the very end. Okay, because yeah, I wanted to talk about the petrodollar, right? The US made not only do they have the reserve currency, the world reserve currency, which has all kinds of advantages for them, but they also managed to make a deal with Saudi Arabia in 1973 to have all oil purchased and bought in US dollars. That had enormous advantages for the Americans, and I list them here. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, the petrodollar system. So you might want to, if you're interested, I think it's in your package there. Go ahead. Yeah, and I just wanted to talk about the military bases and how, the US was protecting, the Gulf countries, but as we can see with the Iran oil or the Iran war, that sort of isn't working anymore. And a lot of countries are starting to trade not using the US dollar. There's a bit of a, rebellion going on. Go ahead. Yeah, so go ahead. So I just wanted to talk about, we've always seen political turmoil in oil and gas, but now there is an alternative, and that alternative is clean tech. China has, if you have seen that, keep going there. If you have seen, keep going, yeah. If you've seen, China has just gone crazy on clean tech in the last 20 years. And no matter what you or I think about the government of China, they've done the world a big favor in a way because they have brought the costs down. Here we have wind and solar. Cost per megawatt hour is way down here. And as you can see, natural gas, even cheaper than coal now. And for those people that say, China they're still using coal, they are, but that's what they have is coal. They're using coal as a backup. As we are maybe using natural gas as a backup, I would love to see the grid. I would like to see the base load as renewables with fossil fuels as a backup instead of the other way around. Keep going there. Yeah, so just keep going. So that's China. This is Asia. The big question, just go back one. The big question is, what will Asia do? Are they going to go clean tech? And I think the chances are very good that they will, because they want energy independence. Like this whole thing about Iran, some people are joking and calling Trump the environmental president because he's caused, this geopolitical conflict, and all countries are going, well, I think it's time to build clean tech so that we don't have to be dependent on imported, fossil fuels. Go ahead. So just things, I'm not anti-oil. Oil would be great we should be making carbon fiber with it. Carbon fiber is light, stronger than steel, and used in, space stuff, medical stuff, all kinds of stuff. There are other uses for oil other than burning it. Okay, and just types of electric vehicles. I just wanted to go through the different types. I don't have time, but go ahead, Melanie. So I know, that here we have trucks, one is gas, one is electric. They're just showing you here how much you save, of course, in gas. But I guess my question to people is, okay, so this costs you $70,000. Oh, is that right? $70,000, yeah. And the gas one is $67,000. Not a whole lot of difference, actually. I'm shocked. But even if you're going to save gas. And I mean, I'm a retired person. I use about $2,500 worth of gas a year. I keep all my receipts. And you think about that over 10 years. That's a lot, and I'm sure if you have a truck or something, you're using a lot more than that. So, and just think about it. I mean, even if you weren't saving the gas, wouldn't it still be worthwhile to buy the electric one? Just saying. But again, you have to, and I'm not saying, you have to go and do that today, but we're all going to be looking at a new vehicle eventually, So please think about it. Go ahead, Melanie. Yeah, so I just wanted to talk, just to reference the visioning plan, climate and environmental impacts that you made, which are excellent, excellent, So I'm hoping that you will go back to them and really think about how you can do it. Melanie, go ahead. Yeah, and I found this, it was a sort of suggestions for municipalities, what you can do, implement. And I think this is, you probably need to invest in some clean tech yourself, get experience with it, and then some suggestions, invest in it. I've, talked about even community solar projects that people put in shares, and then reap the benefits from it. We'll just go back, sorry. Yeah. And then regulate, I don't know, you've probably talked about this, like how do you regulating solar arrays, even plug in solar right now? Is that a, does an electrician have to oversee that? I don't know, stuff like that. And then encourage education, awareness. I think it's really important that we make people aware that this is cheaper. This is cheaper. And if you could help, go ahead. If you could possibly help, I know some municipalities have actually, bought solar panels or whatever in bulk and then sold it, at a cheaper price to their residents. So thank you very much. Oh, and also I just want to, and about the charging infrastructure, I really think that's important because people that come up here, I mean, tourists do have money. They probably have electric vehicles. They care about nature. We need to have charging stations in our municipality here. And also, would you consider clean tech when you're buying a vehicle? Because I thought you don't have to worry about range. It's only going around the municipality. So I'm hoping that, we can think about those things. And thank you.
Well, thank you, Joan. I know you've put a lot of work into your presentation and we certainly appreciate it. And I know 15 minutes, I gave you longer than that though. But I truly appreciate the work you do and looking forward to Saturday as it's going to be a big day again. Thank you. Oh, sure.
Just one comment, and thank you, Joan. And it's easy to see your, I'll use the French expression, tu es mordu là-dedans. You
You
are
have a
really
great passion.
your passion for it and all the work you put in. Joan will have a table on Saturday doing this talk and other information. So any of you that want to go deeper into her presentation, Joan will be available all day on Saturday at the Alban Community Center. I'm plugging in 9 to 2. So Joan, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I did actually gallery of that is from 11 to
Thank you, Joan. All right, so we'll go to our next item on the agenda, which is the amended one. So 6.1.1, flood and monitoring and watershed condition update. So we'll start with you, Barak, as our chair of the emergency group and fire chief, and then the others can pop in. There's been a lot that's been happening over the last few days
Yes, a lot has
and more to
happened.
come.
So, following yesterday's heavy rainfall, the municipality experienced flooding due to our local inflows. Some of our roads were impacted with closures and damages. Happy to say some of our roads that were heavily damaged are now on one lane, especially Manettville Road. Given the ongoing snow and ice melt and current rain in the forecast and conditions in the municipality and in our northern parts of our watershed, the emergency control group met this morning and agreed with the mayor to declare a state of emergency and our request for provincial assistance, which moments ago we were given a approval from our field officer. We are currently have sandbag stations set up in Albin and Noelville, at the arena in Noelville and at the community center in Albin. Bags can be picked up here at the municipal office, and we have volunteers at the fire hall in Albin that will be giving bags out. We continue to monitor with our partners with the Watershed and our local dam operators on our situation, and we are keeping a close eye on weather also. We are hoping not to get any more rain for the following couple of days, so we could have a less pressure on our system. If there is any update that comes up about, we do post them on our social media and website. Any questions? Mark, anything to add?
A very good report, Chief. The only thing I'll add is that we'll be experiencing these high levels for the upcoming weeks, not
Yeah.
days, but weeks, based on the information that we've gathered as of this afternoon.
Dean, did you want to address the watershed?
I think that anything useful has already been said, so I'm not going to add much to it. We're aware of what's happening, and I think we here in French River are only primarily interested in residents knowing what's happening. And secondly, that if we're going to be flooded, we're not going to be flooded when Nipissing is also flooding. It's got to be a shared expertise. It can't be just us at the expense of all of our people on the river. That's something that's happened in the past, but I think in all fairness, that the people that run the dams now acknowledge that they're trying much harder to be fair about how they do this. If we're going to be flooded here, the lake is going to be starting to flood also. So, and that's about the most we can ask for. There's really nothing else because everything else is weather dependent. That's all there is to it. When you get the rain and if we get too much rain and we're melting the snow, we're going to have a lot of problem. And we have a lot of snow in the northern part of the watershed that we haven't dealt with yet. That's still to come. So let's just hope for the best. And I think the fact that we're aware and that we're already making preparations, that's about all we can do as a municipality at this point. Most importantly, let's try to make sure our citizens are aware of what's happening, what's apt to happen, so they can prepare too. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean. And I think that I would like to ask also that if you see any roads that are flooded, or water is going over the road, but not quite flooded yet, to please call the office and let our staff know, because they can't repair something they don't know is happening. So keep an eye out on the roads and let people call in when they see things that are just not quite right. Okay. It's going to take a while before we're out of this yet. So a little bit of patience. All right. Any questions or comments? No? Okay. Before you, in your package, you have a resolution to receive the Integrity Commissioner's Service Report, the annual report that our Integrity Commissioner gives us on an annual basis. And you'll see, once again, there has been no complaints filed with the Integrity Commissioner in 2025. But that's about all I have to say on the Integrity Commissioner's report. Any questions? So I need a resolution to receive the Integrity Commissioner's report. Bob and Roger.
It is moved and seconded, be it resolved that council receives the 2025 Integrity Commissioner Services Annual Report dated March 17th, 2026.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. And then we'll move on to 6.2 finances. So again, before you, you have a resolution to adopt the final tax levy, a bylaw. Need a mover and a seconder. Brittany and Willie. Any questions? Seeing none. Oh, you better read it first. Sorry,
read it.
I'm always quicker.
It is moved and seconded, be resolved that bylaw 2026-22 being a bylaw to provide for the adoption of the current estimates and tax rates and to further provide for penalty and interest in default of payment thereof for the year 2026 be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. And there's a resolution to adopt the tax ratio bylaw. Need a mover and a seconder. Bob and Roger.
It is moved and seconded, be it resolved that bylaw 2026-23 being a bylaw to establish the tax ratios for the year 2026 be read first, second, and third time. Finally passed.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. We have no reports for Public Works, Recreation and Community Services. There is a report in there. Jason can't be here today. If you have any questions, maybe Mark can answer them for you, but if everybody's okay, we'll move on. So you will see in correspondence that there is a resolution that St. Charles passed at their last council meeting, which deals with the Sudbury East Planning Board and some of the issues they've had. We at Municipality of French River are not in agreement with the motion put forward by St. Charles. And we are planning to do two things with council's approval. The first is a letter to be sent to the Sudbury East Planning Board. And we'll be copying, of course, our neighboring municipalities within the planning area and our local MPs. And that letter formally expresses our opposition to the St. Charles resolution and the direction it proposes for the planning services in our area. Council's concern is that the resolution undermines the role of professional planners and promotes the development first approach that could weaken important planning safeguards, including environmental protections. We want to be clear that the professional planning advice is not optional. It is required part of the process to ensure decisions follow provincial laws and protects the long-term public interest. We also raise concern about ongoing governance issues, including the decision not to proceed with an independent review and the potential for disproportionate influence from a single municipality. We believe this situation creates instability and could expose municipality to legal and reputational risk if not addressed. And for that reason, we've asked the province to become involved. And we are reaffirming that French River will continue to support responsible, policy-based planning that protects our community over the long term. So that's the letter, the guts of the letter that we are planning as council to send with your approval. And so with that, I would like to have a resolution to forward this letter to the planning board. I need a mover and a seconder. Renee and Dave. Any questions? Bob, you okay?
Questions, comments? I would urge council to support this. To support our motion, not to support the St. Charles motion. The planning board has been there for years. A former mayor here in the older days, Monsieur Valois-Séguin, petitioned provincial government to get the planning board going, to get our decision-making locally. Now it seems this member municipality and want to pull out of it because they don't always like decisions that are made by member municipalities for the greater of the region. We, as members of the planning board, the planning board consists of 2 members, each from 4 municipalities, and 2 appointed from the unorganized. Presently, there is only 1 from the organized. When we sit on the planning board, we sit there to represent the region, not our municipality. But working for the region, we are working for our municipality. And this seems lost sometimes. When we have staff and we want to be in their kitchen to tell them out, it just doesn't work. So I could go on, and there's a lot of little things. Our planning board, there is, and Dave can correct me. I believe there is 9 to 12 planning boards in Northern Ontario. We are the first planning board this year that has worked and have adopted a complaint policy for our residents, that giving them a chance to vent if they don't agree with us. Other planning boards have approached us to have this document. We have worked on 2 reports I can think of, further information that we bring to the board, all extra work for our staff. I think last year on our budget, we were over budget last year by $35. Our planning board is very efficient, well run. I am proud of our staff. I am proud of our board. So I urge you to please support our motion, not supporting the St. Charles motion. Thank you. And I don't know if my fellow member Dave wants to add anything.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. I don't really have anything to add. You pretty much got everything there, but I'm just going to agree with everything that you said. Thank you.
All right, so we have a resolution.
So it is moved and seconded, be it resolved that council acknowledges receipt of the Municipality of St. Charles resolution adopted at its committee of the whole meeting of March 4th, titled Planning Committee Recommendations Report regarding the Sudbury's Planning Board, and that council agrees to respond by way of letters to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing and to the Sudbury's Planning Board with copies to neighboring municipalities within the planning area and local MPPs for formally expressing council's concerns regarding governance, the role of professional planning, and adherence to provincial planning policy, and to request clarity, accountability, and appropriate action to ensure the integrity of the land use planning process within the Sudbury's planning area.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. The second letter is, oh, sorry.
So the motion was for both letters.
Oh, it was for both? Okay.
So the summary pretty much encompasses both.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
message of both letters.
So the other letter will go to Minister Rob Flack for Municipal Affairs and Housing. The other thing too, with the minister, we will be asking to meet with him in August when we go to AMO to discuss this issue, and perhaps hope he will then intervene to make this a real planning board that works. Okay? Yeah.
Hey, just a question, how does this affect, my God. Sudbury East, our group, our, SEMA, like,
SEMA has nothing to do with that.
with the planning board?
SEMA is separate than the
Oh,
planning
separate,
board is
SEMA.
it's an entity
Sudbury
all
East.
by itself,
But, okay,
governed under legislation.
relation,
SEMA is the four municipalities that get together.
yeah, but normally we appoint, oh no, we're still appointing individually, that's true, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's,
We-
okay,
yeah.
I was just wondering,
Okay,
okay.
good. Next item is the consent agenda. So I have a resolution to adopt the items contained in the consent agenda. I need a mover and a seconder. Dave and Dean.
It is moved and seconded, be resolved that council approves the items of the consent agenda under section 8.1.
Thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. There are no notices of motion tonight, so we'll move on to announcements. I'll start with Renee this time.
Not many announcements. Glad to see the grass, even though there's been a lot of flooding. That's about it. I'll let Bob speak to Earth Day this weekend coming up. And that's about all I have to say. Welcome back, Giselle, to Canada.
Thank you.
We missed you while you were gone.
Yeah, thanks for the flood.
And good presentation, Joan. It was interesting. Thank you.
Dave?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Dean?
I think I've already said enough this evening. Thank you.
Okay. Willie?
I don't have much. I'd just like to say thank you very much for the presentation, Joan. It was very informative. I would love to have the opportunity to speak with you privately and further some of these discussions. I find it very interesting and very deep on many levels. And that's all I have to add.
Okay. Bob?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, Joan, again, thank you. See you tomorrow. Saturday, Earth Day, and Joan, we have over 30 vendors, exhibitors, and recyclers. Recyclers is my new word for yard sales. Yard sailing, if what's sold in the yard sale doesn't go to our dump site. And I love it. So they're recyclers. As far as I'm concerned, we have a big animal display for the kids, coloring contests. I still haven't got my answer, Joan. I said, please, no snakes, but I don't know. Food will be available from Confico Cafe, and we have, I don't want to know if it's not a door prize. It's, we do have a door prize, by the way. but it's a attendance gift for everyone like we usually
Yes.
do. And those will be given out at the door by our mayor. I don't know if you know that you were volunteered for that, so.
I love doing that stuff.
They, 2 weekends after that, May 2nd, the Rod and Gun are having their drive-through pickerel fish fry
Yeah.
from 9 to 3 o'clock. So, and I hear they're gonna have extra cookers this year, so it'll be faster. So good luck to the Rod and Gun Club. As for our seniors complex, good news, we're at 24. We have, Holly has approved another 4 to move in within the next 2 weeks, which will be putting us to 28. We might be losing one, but we have inquiries are coming in faster and more numerous than in the winter months. Yesterday afternoon, I got a phone call from a resident that Heritage Bay Road was starting to flood. I got the message off to Kevin, and that was it. This afternoon, this same resident talked to me. He says, Bob, he says, I passed there today. Nothing shows. Everything was fixed. To his satisfaction, he says the road is better than it was. So thank you to our roads department, to the whole organization that takes care of it. And my last thing, it's nice to see your smiling face
Oh,
there
you're
at our table.
Charmer, aren't
Thank
you?
you.
All right. Roger?
Basically, all I have to do or want to say is thank you very much. It enlightened me anyway. I know I have stocks in CO2, so it's just, I'm not sure. But thank you. And that's all.
As for me, food bank is open tomorrow for people to receive their hampers. And also, council mark June 5th in your calendars. It's the seniors annual lunch at the ACC, at the community center where we honor our seniors in our community. We're expecting about 170 this year. So I'll be reaching out also to I already reached out to the firefighters, and we'll reaching out to the police and EMTs to also assist us. So with councils, you will be there. So mark your day, June 5th, and be there for around 11:45. Okay. And we'll be honoring 3 citizens again this year. And that's all I have. There is no closed session. So I need a resolution to adopt the confirmation bylaw. Moved by Willie and Roger. All those in favor? Thank you. And I need a resolution to adjourn. Willie and Dave? All those in favor? Thank you. And again, Joan, thank you very much for your presentation. Much appreciated.